Good morning, fourth graders. Today we will start with lesson 7 from chapter 9, in which you will learn how to compare decimals to hundreds by reasoning about their size. The big question that you need to answer by the end of today's session is how can you compare decimals? Let's start with the first problem on your book. The city park covers 6,400 square mile. About 18 hundredths of the park is covered by water, and about 2/10 of the park is covered by paved walkways. Is more of the park covered by water or paved walkways? Of course, first, let's cross the extra information that we don't need. By the way, we don't care exactly and we don't need to know how much is the area of the park. What we care to know, what are the important numbers are how much of the park is covered by water and how much of the park is covered by paved walkways. Then what we need to do, we need to compare. Is more of the park, is more means, here is the keyword, we need to compare using the comparison symbols. So now let's start. First, we can use models to compare the decimals. We know that 18 hundredths of the park is covered by water. How can we shape this model to show 18 hundredths? How many small squares we need to shade? We need to shade 18 small squares. So each column, we know that each column has 10 squares. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. In this way, we are shading 18 hundredths. Now, we know that this model represents 18 hundredths, right? Because it has 18 small squares. We also know from the problem that 2/10 of the park is covered by paved walkways. So now we need to go to the model and show how we need to and shade how to show the 2/10. How many columns are 2/10? Remember? Yeah, 2 columns. Each column is 1/10. So 1/10, 2/10, right? So now what we need to do, we need to ask ourselves which model shows more shaded parts? Which model shows more shaded parts? The one on the left shows less than 2 columns. You see here, these are not shaded, so not exactly 2 columns, less than 2 columns. The model on the right shows exactly 2 full columns. So you can tell that the model on the left shows fewer columns shaded than the model on the right. So now, fewer shaded parts means lesser number, right? If this number is lesser than this number or smaller than this number, what symbol we can use to compare? You remember the comparison symbols? This symbol we read it as greater than, and this one we read it as less than. So is 18 hundredths greater than or less than 2/10 from the shaded parts? Yeah, it's less than. So this was the first way to compare the two numbers.